Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin just perfectly retested this critical area on the price chart and is now bouncing from this area as we speak. But in the short term, the price of Bitcoin is now flashing a new warning signal that we need to pay attention to, while Ethereum is still playing out this oversold signal on this chart. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before getting into the Bitcoin part of the video, we need to talk about some news today, because over the last one day, we did see some new CPI inflation numbers just got released, which basically came in very close to expectations. So either way, we didn't really have a major movement in the market based on this, because CPI inflation came in at around 2.5% year over year, and the expectation, according to some people, was 2.5%, but based on the trading economics right here, based on the consensus, as we can see right here, this was sitting at 2.6% as the expectation, at least based on this data. And so either way, seeing a result of 2.5% is not really that big of a deal. It came in very close to expectations, which is why we really didn't see a major move in the market as soon as this information got released. And so I just thought I'd throw this in the video either way. And as always, if you want to stay up to date in real time and get these extra updates throughout the day, then make sure to check out my Twitter or X link down below in the description and in the pinned comment if you want to get these extra updates like this one right here, which I shared on Twitter basically the moment this information got released. But with that being said, getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, this is on the 4-day Bitcoin chart looking at the super trendy indicator. And over the last one day, this chart has not really changed all that much. So getting straight into the 2-day time frame, and we can say the same thing right here, because over the last one day, we're still trading above this support, but below this resistance. So ultimately still within the larger bearish trend, at least as of right now, with major support at around 52,500 and major resistance at around 68,000 approximately. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, we have seen another very slight move to the upside in the DXY, but ultimately over the last couple of days, we haven't really seen a major movement in the DXY. So it's been relatively neutral. We haven't really seen anything too significant in the DXY just over the last 1 to 2 days here. And so getting straight into this daily Bitcoin chart, and what we have seen over the last 1 to 2 days, which is significant, is of course a breakout first of all, which I mentioned in my last video, above this area in between around 56 to 57,000. And then over the last 1 day or so, we actually came back down to retest that area, and we've actually held above that area based on the candle closes, because we never saw a candle close on the daily time frame back below 56,000, despite the price temporarily dropping slightly below 56,000, but ultimately still holding that area as support, at least for now. And so, of course, as I mentioned in my last video here on the channel, if we hold above this area, things are still looking pretty good just in the short term. In terms of the shorter term trend, of course, we can see shorter term bullish trends during a larger bearish trend. As we can see here, this is a larger bearish trend containing multiple shorter term bullish trends. And so that's basically the situation right now. We're currently entering into a bit more of a short-term bullish trend, like what we saw just here or just here, for example. But technically speaking, this can still occur within the larger bearish trend for as long as we're below this line of resistance. But the next shorter term level of resistance to pay attention to is sitting closer towards around 59,500. And then we have some major resistance at just above 60,000 to 61,000, and more resistance at around 64,500. And so even though the shorter term trend and momentum is starting to look more bullish, as I've said over the last 1 day, we do still have resistance to the upside to pay attention to. So obviously we're not going to go straight to the upside like this. We're going to run into resistance along the way. And as for support, once again, 56 to 57,000 should now be acting as new support for the price of Bitcoin, considering we have just retested that area over the last 1 day and held that area as support. And ultimately, in order to essentially invalidate this shorter term bullish trend and start flipping much more bearish again in the short term, we would need to see a break back below around 56,000 with confirmation. So candle closes below that level, which at least for now has not happened. So we're looking shorter term bullish in terms of the trend and momentum, but longer term bearish, at least as of right now. That is the current situation based on these charts. But of course, we do have other important Bitcoin charts to look at. But just before talking about those, first of all, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where just by trading crypto using the link down below this video, you can basically get these free entries into this lucky draw right here, as you can see, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is Bitfinex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitfinex, which means if you're in the US or the UK, for example, you might not be able to access Bybit, but you can access Bitfinex. So I'll also leave a link to Bitfinex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if you use that link down below this video to Bitfinex, you can get up to a 5.5k deposit bonus. And only if you use that link below this video, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever if you use the link down below this video to make your Bitfinex account. And so as another option out there, another exchange, once again, there's Bitfinex, links down below if you want to get those extra bonuses. But with that being said, getting into some other important Bitcoin charts today, first of all, looking at this 2-hour Bitcoin chart, and what we are right now seeing is a new bearish divergence forming in the short term with new higher highs in the price of Bitcoin in these candle closes right here and lower highs starting to form here in the 2-hour Bitcoin RSI. And now, as you might already see right here, we did actually have a previous short-term bearish divergence right here, which basically already played out within the last day or so with that short-term pullback, which was essentially that retest of this area right here, which we bounced from. But once again, since then, we're now creating a new higher high in the price of Bitcoin and still potentially forming lower highs in the Bitcoin RSI. But this new lower high still needs to be confirmed in place with at least a few red candle closes here in the price action in order to actually cement the lower high in place in the RSI. And if we see that confirmation by seeing a couple of red candle closes here confirm on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, then in that case, that would be telling us that just in the short term, maybe over the next 1 or 2 days, we're likely going to see a little bit of a short-term cool-off during this short-term bullish trend. And so obviously an example of that was what we saw right here, just a bit of a pullback during the short-term bullish trend before a continuation later on. Because usually a bearish divergence plays out in the form of either a short-term pullback or at least some choppy sideways price action, just a bit of a break from the bullish momentum over the next 1 or 2 days based on a bearish divergence on the 2-hour time frame. And so once again, if we see those confirmation signals, which right now have not yet confirmed, but if we confirm the new bearish divergence, that is what I expect over the next 1 or 2 days as the most likely scenario during the short-term bullish trend, which if we're zooming out is still occurring during a larger bearish trend. And so obviously it's more nuanced than just saying Bitcoin's going to go either up or down, because ultimately we have different trends on different time frames. So ultimately at the moment on the larger time frames, things are still looking bearish in terms of the trend, but during the bearish trend, we can see short-term bullish trends from time to time, which we're seeing right now. But if we confirm that new bearish divergence on the 2-hour time frame, we could then see a bit of a shorter-term break during that short-term bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map just recently, over the last few hours or so, we've now taken out that major area of liquidity to the upside, which I've been talking about over the last few days. And that was sitting closer towards around 58,500, just underneath 58,500. And we've basically just now taken out that liquidity at the time of recording this video. So the levels of liquidity to look at right now are still sitting just above the price, but we don't really have any significant levels. We do have some liquidity at around 58.7k, going all the way up towards around 59,500. But other than that, we don't really have a lot of liquidity to pay attention to, at least as of right now. But something else to pay attention to is, of course, the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, which right now are still actually sitting in negative territories across most of the crypto market, that is, because right now, a lot of the crypto market, a lot of the traders out there are still trying to short crypto. A lot of people are still very bearish. And so even though we might still be within the larger bearish trend, of course, the shorter term trend has already started to flip more bullish again in recent days. But based on the funding rate, it looks like a lot of traders have not really flipped bullish again, at least in the short term. A lot of people are still trying to short the market, which could potentially result in a bit of a short squeeze, because this is one of the main ingredients for a short squeeze, as I've discussed in more detail in previous videos here on the channel. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now the price of ETH is still perfectly holding above this major area of support in between around 2150 to 2.2k. And so like I've been saying over the last 1 week or so, I still expect the price to hold above that area of support at least for the next few days, most likely for the next few weeks, considering that is significant support for the price of ETH here on the larger time frames. But technically speaking, even though we're still holding above that major area of support, and I continue to expect that here in the short term, technically speaking, we're still, at least for now, within the larger bearish trend, because we have not yet reversed the lower high, lower low price structure. But if we're zooming into a slightly smaller time frame, looking at the daily time frame, of course, right now we're still actively playing out a bullish divergence. So even though we might still be within the larger bearish trend, obviously that doesn't mean we can see no bullish price action like what we've seen previously during the bearish trend. And so right now we are indeed playing out a bullish divergence, resulting in a bit of a short-term bullish relief, which is one of the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence, because usually a bullish divergence on the daily time frame plays out over a slight bullish relief or just some choppy sideways price action within a few weeks or so as the most likely scenarios. And this is still coinciding with the fact that we've been bouncing from oversold territories on the 12-hour time frame, which based on all of these previous times over the last half a year or so, this usually means we're going to see a bit of a bounce in the short term in the price of ETH, and usually a bit more of a relief over the next couple of weeks or so as the most likely scenario in the price. But this alone does not necessarily mean the larger bearish trend is over, as we can see here. And so that is still the situation right now for the price of ETH, which is still perfectly playing out as expected. As we can see here, we're still seeing a slight bullish relief, at least as of right now, during a larger bearish trend. That is the current situation. And as for resistance to watch out for, we do have some resistance at around 2.4k to pay attention to. And above 2.4k, we have more resistance at around 2550, give or take. And above that, we have a significant level of resistance at around 2.8k. And with that being said, taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, and we're still bouncing from this major area of support. In fact, just over the last 1 day, we perfectly bounced from this area of support, which is sitting in between 120 to 128, and we pretty much exactly bounced from 128 to the nearest dollar over the last 1 day. And this comes just after we saw pretty much a perfect rejection from this exact area of resistance over the last couple of days, which is sitting in between 138 to 143, and to the nearest dollar, to almost the nearest cent, we rejected exactly from 138, and then it basically retested this support and then bounced exactly from this support. And so obviously, as of right now, the price of Solana is still strongly respecting these areas of support and resistance. So it's still important to pay attention to this area of support and this area of resistance. And of course, we're still actively playing out this bullish divergence here on the daily time frame. And so like I've been saying over the last half a week or so, we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or a bit of choppy sideways price action in the shorter term over the next couple of weeks or so as the most likely scenario as of right now. And if we start breaking out back above around 143, then that would mean we're starting to flip a lot more bullish again in terms of the shorter term trend. So if we break out above 143, expect a lot more bullish price action in the short term if we actually hold at that area, like what we're doing with Bitcoin at the moment. And so in that situation, the next major area of resistance to the upside above 143 is sitting in between around 159 to 163. But as of right now, we're still just seeing a slight relief in the short term, bouncing from major support and playing out a bullish divergence. But as of right now, while we're still below this resistance in between 138 to 143, we don't really have a lot of bullish momentum in the short term. We're not really starting a bullish trend, at least while we're below this resistance. And as always, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.